Yo, what's up YouTube? This is Noah from Let Us Live magazine checking back in with you. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everybody who checked out the last video. Thank you to everyone who left a comment, anyone who liked, shared the video, did anything to push that word out there for Let Us Live magazine. I just want to say thank you. I'm so appreciative for you showing your love and support. So thank you. Yeah, if I can't say it enough, just thank you. But today I wanted to definitely shift our conversation a little bit. It's kind of piggybacking off of the last topic, but I've just been hearing so much about what's next. What are we gonna do next? Where does this lead us to? What is our end goal? As far as just breaking down systematic racism, progressing the Black Lives Matter movement, just what is the finale for us? And I think it's a little bit harder said than done, because I think a lot of people know where they want to go. Of course they want to end racism, of course they want to do this, of course they want to do that, of course they want to create fair opportunities and things of that nature, but what are the actual actions that we're gonna get that job done? So that's kind of where I just wanted to go today. But like I said, in the Black community right now, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, we've been outside, guys. We've been doing what we were supposed to do. We've been protesting, we've been letting our voices be heard, we're not being silenced, and we are just doing great things. But what can we do other than protest to change this system? Because like I said before, you'll hear a lot of people talk about systematic racism and tearing the system from the bottom up and changing it and things like that. So I had a few ideas, and of course some of these are more common than others, but there's a few ideas that I feel like everybody on the home front, because like I said before, you have to respect those people who go out, protest. Those are our front lines. Those are our foot soldiers right now. So everybody who doesn't feel comfortable enough to protest, of course there's a pandemic going on outside, so nobody blames you for that. Of course, protect yourself at first. But what are the things that we can be doing from home or just in our own community to push this narrative forward? Because that's the biggest thing that I've seen over the last probably week, is that while these protests and riots are still happening and they're still going on and they're still very big and successful, I feel that it's kind of losing the steam and things are trying to go back to normal and they're trying to get back. No, I don't want it to go back to normal. I want y'all to keep the same fire, keep the same energy. So I just want to talk about some things that we could possibly do. First order of business, voting. Voting is the most powerful tool that we have in our arsenal. Voting can change anything, and I know a lot of people in my own generation, or hate to use those words, but in my age group, I'll say, have this mentality of where is that gotten us? When we voted and we're still stuck in this place, or what has the vote done for us lately? And sure, Obama got in 2008 and last 2012, which was great. You know what I'm saying? He had 2 terms as president, but it still hasn't fixed that systematic racism yet. It still hasn't gotten that hate out of a lot of people's hearts. I'm here to tell you that sometimes it never will. No matter how much we vote, no matter how much we protest, no matter how much we complain, no matter how much we yell, scream, kick, fight, some people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. And that's okay. But this is for the people who are willing to listen. This is for the people who are willing to stand and make a change. Voting is one of those tools that we've got to push way harder. Voting is kind of looked at as a drab. It's a little boring. It's a lot to sit through. It's a lot to sift through. But if you can't tell, the vote elected Donald Trump in. That's where we are right now. Voting elected our president. Voting elects our public officials, puts people in positions of power. So we have to understand, as citizens, this is our power. This is how we control our narrative. This is how we fix our community. We have to get out, one, and support our own in politics. Two, we have to understand no matter what the situation is, no matter what the circumstances are, we must vote. I hear too many people talk about, oh yeah, I'm not voting this year. I don't really see a candidate that's worth my time. Educate yourself. Educate yourself. There's more than two parties. And it took me a really long time to understand that until I really got to high school and understood like, hey, it's more people and it's more parties and ideas out here other than the Democratic and Republican parties. And I know a lot of people don't believe in the third party or the Green Party or just any other system that's not red or blue, but it's time for us to start taking that step and checking and educating ourselves, because evidently what we're doing right now isn't getting it done from the Dems or the Republicans. It hasn't fixed some of the same issues that we've been talking about for the last 100 years, for the last 300 to 400 years. Some of the same issues that still plague us, we are still talking about. So what's the definition of insanity? Doing something the same way and expecting a different result. It's not gonna happen. So voting is one of those tools that we've definitely got to push in our community and tell our younger folks that your voice does matter. I understand it's, about the absentee ballot might not be used. You can't think like that. You can't think like that. You have to be positive. You have to say, I'm gonna stand up even if it's just me, by myself. Perfect example. The NBA made its proposition to come back. The Portland Trail Blazers are the only team in that vote talking about they don't want to come back. You got to stand for something. If you don't believe it, then change it. That's what voting allows us to do. It is our key to change. Kind of just piggybacking off of my last point though, education. Education right now is so important. Because if you're not educated about anything you're talking about, you're ignorant. You're just loud and wrong. And education doesn't just stem about politics. It could just be educating yourself about the movement, about Black Lives Matter, about the people who are attached to Black Lives Matter, the stories, the outcomes. I had seen a post from King Batch. King Batch is a ex-Viner, YouTuber, social media personality, great guy. He actually did a spoken word piece, which was not bad at all, and I actually enjoyed it a little bit, if I can say that. But the thing was, like, he spelled some of these names wrong, like Tamir Rice. That just comes from a lack of education. You know what I'm saying? That just comes from a lack of awareness. You got to be aware and you have to educate yourself about the movement. How are you going to be able to get on your platform that has 1 million+ people watching and you spell that young man's name wrong? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that we have to correct. That's where the education comes in. We have to talk to our friends, our family members. And there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about politics or don't want to talk about certain social situations because they're afraid of disagreeing with someone or creating a schism between somebody in their friendship. It's bigger than that right now. Education is key, especially when you're talking to your friends and family members who are not Black. Or those who, let's say, hang around the Black community, but they know at the end of the day that they are not a part of the race. Educate those folks. Educate your friend who's not really speaking up on Black Lives Matter or, you know what I'm saying, or making statements. Educate them. That's all you can do. Because you can only control what you can do. You're not gonna think like that person. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna just change them overnight, but the education is where it starts. That's how we move forward as well. And educate yourself about these stories and families as well. I had seen a post that might have been on Instagram showing Trayvon Martin's mother, is running for office in Florida. That's great to hear. To me, that's music to my ears, because to know what that family has been through, and knowing what age I was, so I've been able to kind of keep up with them, just see the growth, just see from where they came from when things first happened to getting out in their community and helping other mothers and fathers and families and brothers and sisters who have experienced that, who have lost their brother, who have lost their sister, who have lost a loved one, and they didn't have justice. And Trayvon Martin didn't have justice either. But just to know that his parents are still reaching out and still connecting with those families and connecting with those people who are affected by this is just beautiful. And the fact that she is going to take it upon herself and go into our community and run for office and try to be a public official is great, because that is how we start. We have to start small. And in starting small is just in anything you do, whether it be your business, whether you're an artist, your music, your painting, whatever creative outlet or just outlet in general that you have, start small. Don't be afraid because the numbers aren't there yet, or the numbers, you're not seeing where they're gonna come from. You don't know how you're gonna do it. Just do it, just start. Anywhere you go, especially in times like these, reach out into your community and they will support you wholeheartedly. If you reach out and bring those folks in, they are going to support you. So that's what I mean by just educating yourself. Another thing that I really want to touch on too was just raising awareness. Man, if I can just divert real quick, playing video games and playing certain sports games, I never knew the importance of awareness. Awareness is right up there with voting. If you're unaware of the situations that are going on in your community, not just black folks, but just in your school district or wherever that you patron or you just are a part of, understand what's going on. Understand what the issues are. So you can be part of that solution. I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, listen and be a part of the solution. No. Go out there, find those people, get awareness, get into your community. And accountability is another thing that's ultimately necessary right now. Accountability is something that we've got, it's necessary. It's necessary. It's just like accountability is necessary. Of course, hold your elected officials accountable. Hold your police officers accountable. But it stems bigger than that. It goes deeper. Hold some of these folks that are put in positions of power or that have high esteem, hold them accountable. Hold your boss accountable at work. There was a young lady that I know, good friend of mine. She works at a firm right now with all of the protests going on and everything that's happening in the world right now, especially in America. There was 2 young black ladies on the team. Nobody felt that they should have any dialect, they should have any word on the movement or just any education, like I said earlier. Their boss didn't think that that was necessary. Those 2 young ladies held everybody on that team accountable and brought the argument to them. Sometimes it's not good enough for us to sit back and say, oh, well, my team doesn't want to do this, or, my people that I know don't want to talk about it. No, bring the argument to them. Put the ball in their court. Ask them, what do you think about Black Lives Matter? What do you think about the protests going on right now? What is your stance? Where do you lie on that situation? Make folks uncomfortable who don't want to be uncomfortable. That's how we create change. If no one's uncomfortable talking about something that's going to rattle some feathers or that's going to get someone agitated, it's not real conversation to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's another big thing as well, is just accountability. Hold these celebs accountable. Hold Virgil Abloh accountable. Yeah, I know he gave $20,000 after his $50, but I'm still going to hold you accountable for that because that's unacceptable. As a black man in that position, and which I love Virgil, so I don't want to get on a bashing of Virgil, but hold him accountable. Nah, bro, that was messed up. You got to do better than that. You know what I'm saying? Hold Drew Brees accountable. Tom Herman, head coach at the University of Texas football, made a great statement. If you haven't seen his statement, check it out. But he says, we love to yell, cheer, hug our buddies when these black folks are catching touchdown passes, catching interceptions, getting sacks, making plays. Yeah, it's cool when we're in the stadium and we're cheering everybody on. But what happens when you date their daughter? What happens when they come and apply for a job in a position of power? How will you see them then? He's holding his community accountable. How are y'all going to react when these situations come up? Because we know how y'all react when they're playing your favorite sport, they're playing for your favorite team. Of course, you love them then, but what happens when it's just you and them? Hold them accountable. Those words by Drew Brees, those first statements were his real answer, guys. Let's not get caught up in the media's game and he'll come back and apologize. Thanks, but no thanks, Drew Brees. Thanks, but no thanks, bud. I just feel we got to hold you accountable. You said what you said. You stand on what you said. I'd rather you stand on what you said than try to walk it back and make it better. No. We got to hold you accountable. That's why I'm glad I seen so many people from the New Orleans area say, man, love Drew Brees, but not my guy anymore. Accountability is key right now, guys. But above all, just keep this fire burning. Keep it going. Keep it, I just don't want to see it end. Like, really, when the Black Lives Matter, not even just Black Lives Matter, but really when these protests for George Floyd were breaking out in Minneapolis, Atlanta, just all over the world, I remember seeing Dallas and California. Keep that fire going. Get out there and keep protesting. Keep donating. Like I said, keep educating those folks that are lost out there. Keep educating those folks who are uninformed, who don't know what to say. I hear a lot of people, a lot of white people say that as well. Like, hey man, like I am definitely in support of Black Lives Matter. I just don't know what to say, how to feel. That's okay. Speak to those people and educate them. Let them know where you're coming from so maybe they can get a grasp and understand. My athletes out there, man, commit to an HBCU. I see a lot of talk going on, but commit to an HBCU. Do that. Do that. Show these people in positions of power you're not playing. We will speak up. We will continue to go where we are loved. So all my athletes out there, I know Mikey Williams was a big one. High school basketball player, really dope. Shout out Mikey Williams. But he's getting a lot of love from HBCUs. I would love to see him go to one, even if it's just for the year until he gets off into the NBA. I would just love to see him check in with an HBCU because I know the love and support that we're going to give him. I know it's going to be crazy. So like I said before, I just want to see people keep going, keep donating, keep going to these protests, keep checking these folks in your mentions, keep checking people everywhere, educate, just keep going. Because I know I'm going to keep going. I know my family's going to keep going. I know people in my community is going to keep going. So I just want to see y'all across the world, over in France, the UK, please keep this same energy going. Because I know it's just not America. It's just not America that's going through police brutality and, systematic racism. It's over in France. It's over in Britain. It's over in Germany. It's over where any black people can go. You know what I'm saying? Mos Def says if you go overseas, they got black people rules still. This just ain't in America. So, I just want to see everybody just keep pushing, keep going. The movement has just started. We are just beginning. And I know right now it seems like we're in a little bit of calm of the storm. Trust me, this is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. But just to wrap up, like I said before, I want to thank every single person who has checked and clicked on this video. Much love as always. Much love again and appreciation to everyone who checked out the last video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Once again, this is Noah from Let Us Live Magazine. Y'all later. Peace.